Let me show you how to solo over a chord progression with feeling and depth to your playing at the beginner, intermediate, and advanced level. Let's jump into it. Now, as a beginner, I used to just play the scales up and down randomly. They had no musical intent whatsoever, no depth to my playing. And as I got a little older, I realized, wow, if I do less, I can actually put more feeling into each and every note. And how do we put more feeling into the notes? Well, step one is identify chord tones. So let's say our chord progression is A minor to D7. A minor, 5, 7, 7, 5, 5, 5. D7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5. So our chord tones would be 5, 8, 7, 7, 5, 5, 5. 5, 4, 7, 5, 7, 7, 5, 8. So if our chord progression is A minor 7 to D7, we want to start and end our phrases on this. And this brings me to my second point, vibrato. Vibrato is one of the ways we can express ourselves as individuals on the guitar. Each and every person's vibrato is like a snowflake. No two vibratos are alike. So if you don't know how to do a vibrato, I'm going to show you how to do it right here. G string, 7th fret. Step one is we're going to place our finger and we're going to wiggle it left and right. Now, this is a way a lot of classical guitar players get vibrato. Last step I want to talk about for beginners, and I rarely if ever hear this talked about on YouTube or elsewhere, so this is really a nugget here, is where you are on the neck. In general, when you're lower on the neck, it's going to have less intensity, and when you're higher on the neck, it's going to have more intensity. So as you're soloing, keep that in mind. Now, what do I mean? Here's an example of that. If we're soloing down here, it's going to have less intensity than if up here. Now for our intermediates out there, these are tips. If you already have a good grasp on bar chords, major scales, and pentatonics, jump right in right here. Now, step one is just like the beginners, you're going to identify chord tones. Step two is using slides. If our chord progression is A minor to D7, we can use slides. Sliding into chord tones. Step three is bending. This is the most expressive way you can use your guitar. I remember when I was in 7th grade and I discovered how to bend, and I know it takes time, so do not get discouraged. It takes time to get bending clean. But when I finally discovered how to do it, and I would bend and I would bend and I would repeat a lick over and over again, my teachers were all of a sudden like, wow, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. I was finally able to connect with the audience and with my teachers, with my peers. So let me show you exactly what I mean by that. You're gonna bend into chord tones, so. Now, I touched on this on step 3, but step 4 is repetition. Has anybody heard Stairway to Heaven, Led Zeppelin? No? Maybe? Okay. Well, this song, at the peak of the solo, Jimmy Page plays a repeating lick. I just got chills right here in the back of my neck. And this is just the human response to somebody playing with feeling and emotion and repeating what they're doing, especially if it has some depth and soul. Do not be afraid to repeat yourself, especially if it is an emotional, catchy lick. Here's an example. Something like that goes a long way. Now we've come to the advanced level, one of my favorite levels to teach in this segment of the video. We know the rules, so we can kind of break them a little bit. Step 1, identify extensions and alterations in the chord tones. One of my favorites is the sharp 11 of a D. This is our sharp 11. It's a G sharp. You can have fun playing with that. Step 2 is use enclosures. Jazz, bebop, Charlie Parker, Joe Pass, so many great jazz players and blues players alike use enclosures. And I'm going to show you a few examples and what that means. Now, enclosures are where you approach the note chromatically from above or below, or both. Now, we're going to use a chord tone, say A. Now, here is an example of an enclosure. Once again. Here's another example of an enclosure. Now, the whole point is you're landing the trick. You're landing the phrase on a chord tone. Doesn't matter that you start the phrase not on a chord tone. Step 3 for advanced players, use rhythm. Use complex rhythm. Use rhythm that connects with your audience and feels good. Make the song, make your solo feel good. Now, how do you do that? I'm going to show you a few examples. Remember, rhythm is king. People connect with rhythm. You can even repeat one note, but if it's rhythmically compelling, that will connect with your audience. That's just one note. Use complex rhythm. Play around with the offbeats, but don't always land your phrases on the downbeat. So if that's a rhythm, 1, 2, 3. Don't always start and end your phrases on the downbeat. Thank you for watching Soulful Guitar Lessons. I will see you next week.